My first memory of running is my dad doing London marathons. He did 4 marathons. Even before I'd ever run before, I remember thinking of him running these, and that was always a goal of mine to want to beat him in a marathon time. I think that's where the competitive running side of it came from. It just kind of grew. I think podcast was the main thing that got me into ultras, watching or hearing people speak about these like extreme events and what it takes to do them is very attractive to me, and I kind of wanted a piece of it and to see if I could do it myself. The main thing I want to do is build resilience. I'm quite a privileged person. I've lived quite a blessed life, and I want to see if I've got what it takes to do these hard things and not break. I hadn't trained as much as I wanted to. I signed up to the race about 2 or 3 weeks before, but in my mind, I decided that I was going to do it about 5 or 6 weeks before, which isn't enough really for a 100-mile race. But I felt good. I felt like I could have competed for top spot, which is what I was going for. Trying to think if I want to start running in this, because I always put too many layers on at the start of a cold run and then try to faff taking them off after 5 minutes. I get really hot, so like even when it's cold, I try and like, what's best if I just wear normal layers, just like one t-shirt for the first 10 minutes and then I'll just warm up. Generally I feel okay. I mean, I'm going into something that I've never done before, and a lot of like apprehension, but I guess just trying not to focus on running 100 miles, just trying to focus on running and not thinking about 1 mile's time or like 10 miles time, but just focus on like one step at a time. But the longest I've run is about 12.5 hours, I think, in the past. And if this goes well, probably looking at 23 hours, 24 hours. That's like best case scenario, really. So if things don't go to plan, it could be twice as long as I've ever run before. And from what you're saying and everyone else is saying, it's going to be really wet and cold for about 16 hours. And dark, which I've never really run in the dark before. But it's all part of it, isn't it? I'll be all right. Leading up to the race, I felt really strong. I felt no anxiety going into the day. I was just excited to get out there and perform and see what I was capable of. It was a little bit of apprehension because I knew I'd never done something as grand as this, and I knew it was going to be the worst day of my life because it was going to include my lowest point, inevitably. But I had the capability of turning it into the best day of my life by getting through that low moment and crossing that finish line. I was just sort of excited it was now happening. I'd started, I was moving. It felt like a bit of, or quite like a sense of adventure. The sun was out, the views were lovely. I was running with people in little groups, and it felt like a real good start to what was going to be a long race. The first chunk up to 40 miles, it was a breeze. A little bit to my surprise. Physically, I felt great. Nothing was going wrong. On a bit of a runner's high, it sort of felt unbreakable, and felt like I was, although looking back at the pace, I was doing a good pace, but in the moment I was thinking I was just going to cruise the first half and not fatigue myself, and get to a point where I could really focus on racing later on in the race. I felt good, and I felt like I wasn't exerting myself too much. I was just enjoying the moment. I felt like I could do this all day. So the race started at 12, and about 4 o'clock the sun was setting. So the race was going to be mostly in the dark, which I knew, and when it started to set, the weather started to change a little bit. It hadn't quite started raining properly yet, but it was dark, it was windy. I had to get my head torch down, but I was still good spirits. I was still happy to be out there. It still really felt like an adventure, and I was still excited about what was to come, because it was all going to be a new experience.
He's just coming up to 44.5 now, so that'll give him another 6 miles, maybe another hour to the halfway stage. They're predicting an 18-hour finish for him. So I think if he can keep the pace going and finish in 18 hours, I think you'd be pleased with that.
I was aware that I was coming up to around about the halfway mark. I felt good. I was starting to feel it in my body a little bit, and probably my pace was slowing down after the 40-mile mark, but not considerably. I was probably still making good pace. And the weather aside, it was brutal, the weather, but I felt strong enough to do that all over again up until about the halfway mark.
Are your legs?
Getting stiff, feel sick.
Getting what?
You're getting stiff, but I feel sick. I think it's feel nauseous.
Well, you're halfway, mate. They're just ticking down the miles now at the end. Is that keeping you dry then?
So yeah, I was gonna change all my clothes then. Top of that mountains, birds off.
Just what?
Birds on, it's just so
What, cold?
cold that.
You want a banana? You can put them in the pocket on the back if you want.
I don't know what happened, but in a matter of a few miles, it just went from, a runner's high to the complete opposite, and I just felt so fatigued. And this is the part of the race that things changed. It started going downhill from this point. I got to the checkpoint at 60 miles. I was sat in the aid station, just head in my hands, just world spinning around me, to be honest. I felt dizzy, I felt sick, and I'd glance up, and the volunteers' faces as they were looking at me like, God, this guy's in trouble. They looked a bit sorry for me. I came out of the aid station and then went into my dad's van, which was sort of like another aid station for me. He helped me get changed. I couldn't even take my top off. I was just so exhausted and just almost like breaking down sort of thing. Like I just felt like I can't get past this feeling. I just felt like my system was shutting down, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I've got 40 miles left. I don't think it's possible. I don't think I can feel this bad and run 40 miles. And it really struck what my dad said to me at that point, which is not really like him. He's quite a strong character. He sort of sees what I'm doing in this. He said, if this is too much, you need to put your health first. If this is how you're feeling, you don't want to be out in the mountains and collapse and be in serious trouble. And I remember saying, this isn't the story I want to tell. This isn't how it was supposed to go. I knew it was going to get tough. I didn't think it was going to feel like this, but it's still no reason to quit.
But I think whatever you have, don't get yourself stuck in a field. No?
I wanted to quit. When my dad said these things, I wanted to quit. I just felt my whole system was hurting, and feeling things that I just didn't even think were possible to feel is just horrendous. And I went into this race, and the whole reason I want to do these things and run these distances and do this endurance is to build resilience and to find out what I'm made of. And this was the moment where I find that out. And I went into this race with this quote from Muhammad Ali. He said, "Suffer now and live the rest of your life a champion." And that was sort of my mantra going into this, anticipating competing for first place. And when this all changed, I still used that, but sort of changed what I meant by it, because of course I'm not going to win the race. I'd fallen back quite a few spots now I was probably in 10th or around about 10th. And I still thought, suffer now and live the rest of my life a champion, as someone who has finished this course and I know that if I was to stop then, I would be quitting, because I feel terrible, but I can still move, I can still walk. My sort of ambition for the race had changed. It wasn't about competing and trying to win or get up there and compete with the top guys. It was just about finishing and not letting the course break me, which is what I was focusing on from that moment on.
God. I was looking at you on the track and I was like, Jesus.
There was no crossing. It was like a metre deep of marshland. Tried to climb a barbed fencing, and the thing just fucking broke on it. Fell in like right to here.
Do you want to jump in there?
Going into this race, I had asked my mate Phil to join me for the last 20 miles. This was the first race I'd run where you're allowed a pacer, and you know, he was the first person I thought of, to be honest. He's got this kind of energy that I knew would uplift me in the slowest moment.
Just get yourself down. God, mental, man. He's an absolute animal. Just that little beanie. Might get a bit hot though.
How am I in this?
All right.
Looks good.
It doesn't look good, but
And after that 60-mile mark, so he was joining me at 80. That's all I was thinking about is get to Phil. I've only got to run the 80 miles because the last 20 miles I'll be with Phil, and that would be a whole different thing. And if I can get to that, then I can get to the end, sort of thing. I felt a lot worse at the point where I got to him. Going into the race, I thought we'd have a nice run together, but it wasn't like that at all. There was a lot of walking, a lot of silence from me, and he was amazing, to be fair. You just tell stories and make jokes and just bring conversation to try and distract me, and it worked. I didn't give much back a lot of the time. To be honest, if he wasn't there doing that, I would have gone a lot slower, because I would have fed the fatigue more, and he brought the energy. Although I was still going slow and hurting, he brought the energy.
that's the most you can do. Good effort for you. How are you feeling? Done it? What? Yeah. Yeah. Need any equipment to that? What do you want us to do now? You can't make a decision. I don't know. Maybe.
How are you feeling? Down here? Huh? Not good? Coke is what you need, mate. Where'd you come from? We're gonna go on to Alfriston,
Okay, yeah.
which is
That's the 90-mile checkpoint.
Once I'd picked Phil up and we were running, the next thing I was looking forward to was the sunrise. The night was just miserable. It was long, it was cold, it was wet, and to see that sunrise was like light at the end of the tunnel. I was in the last stretch of things, and the worst of it was over. Picked Phil up at 20 miles to the end, and he was very good at breaking down the segments, 3 miles to this checkpoint, to this place, just breaking it up so it was a bit more manageable for me. He was trying to find intervals where we'd walk segments and then try and run segments, and at the start, from 20 to go 15 to 10, it's just felt like an eternity. It just felt like hours and hours and hours of feeling like this and not really making progress.
Nice, okay. Yeah, perfect.
But once we got to 8 miles left, 5 miles left, we hit the last checkpoint, and then there was no more checkpoints. We were just from here to the end. That's when it really hit, like, okay, I'm I'm gonna finish this. It's pretty close, and it actually gave me a bit of energy. The last 5 miles, I think we ran most of it, like pretty slowly, but considering how I was feeling and what I was doing, it was such a shift, and I think that was because I thought, this has got to finish. I'm close to the end. I just got to get through it. And that's what we did. We slowly jogged to the finish line.
Well done, Lee. This is it, bro. You've done it.
Crossing the line was a mixture of emotions. It wasn't how I thought it was going to go. I thought I'd be competing for first place, so I kind of envisioned myself crossing that line in a much different way to how I did cross the line. Of course, the race didn't go that way. It got to a point where just crossing the line was all I needed. I had my friends, my family there, and it was very heartfelt. I teared up a little bit. I finally lay down and just had this massive weight off my shoulders and just such a relief. I don't have to think about running another step.
Yeah, it is a belt buckle.
And I was saying and I was thinking, I'm never going to do a 100-mile race again. You know, I'm not putting myself through that. It's just stupid. What's the point? What do I even get out of it? It's not worth what I put into it.
I mean, yeah, I am happy with it.
I think that's cool.
I can't not be happy with it because it just describes the day, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is that the route on there then? Oh yeah, it is.
Oh, Oh, is it? Yeah.
I think that's the route. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just a mountain. Yeah, they do it.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's been 2 weeks, and it is nagging me a little bit. Like, I'm not satisfied with how the race went. Although I am really proud with what I went through and what I had to go through to get to that finish line. I'm still not really like satisfied with the performance side of it, and this is what I want to do. So this is what it takes. This was not a setback, but just like a hurdle to get past, and it's all learning. So I'm looking at these top guys who beat me, and they're beasts. So I want to compete with them. I want to go into a race in the future and compete for first place, and take that and move it forward. I'm coming for the crown. I'm coming after who has it. I want it, and I'm coming. And you will definitely see me race 100 miles again.
Hey, won't you pick it up a little bit faster? Hey, you know concrete dries better than plaster. Hey, won't you pick it up a little bit?
How you feeling, Liam?
There's the bug.
Yeah, what you watching, you think? Sure?
There's the bug. I wake up at 7:45.
Well done, boys.
It's killing
Well done, Liam.